Hey everyone, my name is James Angley. I am here to start my YouTube career. I mean that, and I have been watching YouTube for what my wife would probably describe as too damn much. I've been watching YouTube so much that my kids, when they see me grab the remote, they automatically know that I'm going to YouTube. They automatically know that's the button I'm going to click on. And that's just crazy. How can somebody do that so much and be so passionate about it without eventually taking the dive and trying to get into it on their own? So basically, what I'm saying is, my name's James Angley, and this is my angle. What is my angle? My angle is this YouTube channel right now. I'm hoping whatever gods of the YouTube algorithm pushed you here mean that you're interested in all the nonsense that I'm interested in. When I started watching YouTube, it started with the Drive channel, which is just a soulless shell of itself now, since all of these private equity funds end up taking over all the best YouTubes and just ruining them. But that being said, I do want to say one of the YouTube channels that I used to watch was Donut Media. Now, that was a nonsense video channel that I honestly, when I was younger, would watch this, and I'd see kids in my break room at the dealership I worked at watching that, and I would just be like, oh my God, what is that nonsense? What are they watching? And I ended up falling in love with it and falling in love with James Pumphrey, the host. And all of a sudden, he leaves Donut Media after getting tired of the private equity fund that took over it and starting his own thing. And I saw that as an inspiration. You know, in the words of Will Ferrell from, Step Brothers documentary, James, you are the songbird of our generation.
I've
You
been
are
called
cool
the
with three
songbird of my
O's.
generation
And like,
by
I
people who've heard me.
cannot express to you how much your videos have pushed me in this direction. I want to start a channel that just really speaks to me, and I'm hoping that there's enough of you out there that it also speaks to you. So, as mentioned, my name is James Angley, and this is my angle. See what I did there? Little Doug DeMuro, little play on words, angle, angly, all that nonsense. Anyway, a lot of people ask me, hey James, you talk about this YouTube stuff and you talk about wanting to start a YouTube, but what would your YouTube be? What would it be about? What would it cover? And man, I gotta admit, I panic when I hear this. I don't know. I don't know what it would be. I constantly watch these YouTube videos on how to start a YouTube, and I feel like you have to get pigeonholed into this niche where you're just constantly talking about the same topic, and I just don't want that to be me. I have a lot of interests, like a ton of interest, probably too many interests. I want to talk about cars. I want to talk about alcohol. I want to talk about boats. I want to talk about family, life advice, fishing, overlanding, watches, a lot of gadgets, a lot of junk, a lot of things that I just look at and I'm like, ooh, that's shiny. I want to do guns, gear review. I know guns is a touchy subject on YouTube, so we're just going to push that to the side. A lot of family stuff. I can't express how much stuff that I just like randomly have interest in. Archery, just it just gets out of control. And I feel like I want to share that with you guys. And I don't I don't know if there's a market for that. I don't know if there's people out there, but I do know that there's only so much of this stuff that I could share with my family, my wife, before they're finally like, will you give up? Will you stop talking about this nonsense? I'm so tired of hearing about the two-door Land Rover Defender 90 and how you think that's the best vehicle, even though you have a family of five and just doesn't work out. Anywho, we're not getting into that rabbit hole. I just want to share about my interest, and as mentioned, I hope that some of you are interested in the same things, and because of that, I hope you like and subscribe to this. Now, don't click off yet. I'm not done. I know when you hear the words like, subscribe, and comment, and all that nonsense that you just think is the end of the video. It is not. I want to tell you my plans for this. My plans for this, selfishly, are to get to a point where I can do this for the rest of my life. I want to be a creator. I want to do videos. I want to, I don't know, maybe possibly get into a podcast, which I feel like that just puts people off when you say that out loud because there's probably this oversaturation of podcasts and just people talking all the time. But at the same point, there's a reason for that, and it's because people like that. And not only that, people like me want an outlet for that. They want to talk about their interest. They want to talk about it to a point where maybe other people can get involved. Other people can comment. Other people can, kind of chime in and start conversations that'll get in there. And that sounds really weird to me because overall, I consider myself pretty much an introvert. I don't like I don't like being forced into situations where I have to talk to somebody. I don't like going to a party and finding out I only know one person there and I have to mingle with all these other people. I'd like my circle, I like my people. So it's very interesting to me that I want to dive down this rabbit hole. But as mentioned, podcast maybe down the road. We'll discuss that in the future. Another thing, as far as all of my interests that I listed there, there's obviously more that I've forgotten, I'm sure. The one that I always go back to because it's been in my life, a theme of my life forever, is cars. For some reason, cars has been a huge deal for me. Now, as mentioned, that could pigeonhole me into some sort of niche YouTube rabbit hole where that's all I am. I'm just James Angley that talks about cars, which, God, there's a million of those type of people out there. I don't want to put myself into that corner. I don't want to paint myself into that corner. I do feel like that's one of the most interesting things to me. So I might do maybe 2 uploads a week. I'll do a long form video like this. Think of it like an intermediate school book report on something that you're actually interested in. I'll do a video on that, which is like a long form thing that I release on, I don't know, Friday, Saturday, something like that. I'm still trying to figure this out. I have a full time job, so we'll see how this goes. And then also maybe, Mondays, Tuesdays, I just release a short form video going over the automotive news that I saw today. And that doesn't mean that I'm just going to like pull out the, automotive newspaper of some sort and just go over nonsense that I don't care about. It means I saw something in the automotive world that interested me and I want to just spit off a couple things, give my own opinion on it, and kind of start a conversation about it. It could be anything from Ford's new manufacturing process for EVs to Nissan's re-release of the Nissan Xterra to, you know, it could be anything. It could be Audi talking about making their own version of a G Wagon, which I think is probably going to be based off of a Scout platform, which would be interesting because the Scout platform is pretty friggin' awesome to me. Anywho, let's not get into the weeds. I am so sorry that all you're hearing about is I want, I want, I want. I sound like my 6-year-old daughter when we go to a grocery store, but this channel is supposed to be my version of what I want to do and what I think there might be a market for. So please, when you are watching my videos, feel free to comment and tell me what you like, what you don't like, what you think I can improve on. Don't hesitate to reach out and show me new editing techniques and show me what you think would work better for me. Again, we are learning this together. And because of that, I'm at your mercy. I hope that this eventually will take off and become, the next big YouTube channel. I hope that I can be a James Pumphrey, a Doug DeMuro, um, a four-wheel drive 24/7. And I know, again, this always goes back to cars. All three of those are basically car videos, but let's focus more on maybe the James Pumphrey of things, where we are talking about life advice, we are talking about fashion, we are talking about gadgets, we are talking about gear, and all of my interests. That's the world in which I want to live in. And I'm hoping that with your help, that's something I can accomplish. So thank you again. My name is James Angley, and this is my angle. Like and subscribe.